Morning.
Morning, Christal. Morning to the people of St. Vincent and Grenadines.
Kingsley sound like he's still sleeping, man.
Well, if I be sleeping, you'll be sleeping when you can't be here since 7 o'clock. Yeah.
That one.
Hey, Christal, you know, we only have approximately 55 to 60 minutes because I understand that there will be a resumption of Parliament. And this morning we should be hearing from the Prime Minister in waiting, the opposition leader, the Honorable Dr. Godwin Friday. And we select more France, a 5-time winner in the Southern Grenadines.
Lorraine Godwin Friday.
He will be making his presentation in a response to the Honorable Minister of Finance, Camilla Gonsalves. Christal, what do you hear about the Tune speech? The Tune speech was delivered by the Honorable Governor General. Did you pay attention? Do you know who prepared the Tune speech? If it is prepared by her, or if it is prepared by somebody and given her to read? What's your thoughts on it?
So I'm listening backwards, right? So I went on YouTube. I didn't listen live. So I listened from the last segment there when Minister Gonsalves was speaking. So I did not get to hear that. I'm working my way backwards.
You didn't get to hear the Tune speech?
I'm not listening from the start. I'm listening from the end. Go back.
Okay, because that is why I say that Bones Bondi is the encyclopedia of radio. Okay? The Tune speech is presented by the Governor General. And when she reads or present from a paper or her mind, she says, my government. So she is the head of state. Prime Minister Gonsalves is the Prime Minister. So I get the impression that the Tune speech, while it is presented by the Governor General, it is not written by her. She is just reading what was handed to her. And because she is the head of state, she refers to some aspect of the presentation as my government will, my government do, my government that. You know, and I just to see Marshall coming down this morning when you having that conversation where he was allowed to just rabble off his mouth. I said to myself, Lord of mercy, I want one of those jobs like Sian. You know what I mean?
So you don't rabble off too?
No. Okay, you punch me all the time. You question me all the time. So I am at privilege where I could just talk.
Well, then all we have to say is don't ask you nothing.
No. You cannot have like that, Christal. It have to have some level of communication across the board between you and I to make the program interesting. Because hey, you know we don't judge the quality of our program based on the amount of calls we have, but we have people who listen and try to learn. And I listened to the presentation of Camilla Gonsalves, who is the presenter of the 2023 budget. And a lot of information came up, but you know which aspect of the budget I was impressed by? Some of the proposal and plans for a better health care. If Camilla Gonsalves and the Minister of Health, Jimmy Prince, could at least get a 75% implementation rate for the ministry in terms of what was proposed and presented by Camilla Gonsalves, we will say that aspect of the budget is good. But when you listen to the budget presentation by Camilla Gonsalves, it's a transcript from last year to where we are and where we plan to go in 2023. You know, a lot of people look forward to the budget presentation because, hey, they always think that a lot of goodies is inside there. And when I was a little boy, I hear a budget, I used to thought that it was a money in hand, Christal. I never know. Sometimes you have to propose and hope that you make the money right there. They have another way to say money from other receipts. And deficit has been the premise of Ralph Gonsalves' budget presentation, and his son is following on the same path. And I often wonder if people pay attention to the Tune speech by the Governor, who present in a nutshell what is expected, what the government plan to do, and how far. But you know, all the people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines who are bright, and there are bright people out there who could just say this budget apart of them. But I don't know if it's the climate affair that they're worried about. You never hear nobody call and talk about 2022-2021 budget and its implementation rate. If we really had any accomplishment of sort from what was promised to us by the Minister of Finance. And it's the same thing taking place this year again. Promises, 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 promises. And we don't know if some of the promises will ever become fruit or will they be implemented. So, while it is important that the government has a budget presentation, I think they have to start concentrate on the implementation rate, how we should get things done, and let's focus. Like it's probably too far to critique the issue of the minister and the Ministry of Agriculture. I have not thought so far. I'm not saying that. I listened to the entire presentation from Kamala Gonzalez about his government plans. Because let me tell you something, when you're the Minister of Finance, most of the development plans for the country hints on your ministry because the other parliamentarians who are sitting in cabinet have to come and impress on the Minister of Finance and more or less the Prime Minister to get things done. And I listened to Kamala yesterday, and Kamala is really crafty, I know see why some ambassadors who are here always tell me that Kamala is the right person to take over from his father. Because he made a presentation yesterday and he described the Honorable Frederick Stevenson as very crafty, and he's the one who's getting things done to make sure that some of the defense walls and the eastern side is good. That's not nice to sell Frederick Stevenson. When you look at Frederick Stevenson look like the laziest man in St. Vincent and Grenady.
Okay, the what?
Laziest man. What do you want to know what is taking place in government in St. Vincent? You have to tap into Ralph Gonsalves, Kamala Gonsalves, Suboto Caesar. We might put Mr. Brewster in that equation, but the others just there. And I am hoping that
you could tell that they're just there just by looking at them. Yeah, was it posture?
But Christal, we had over 20 years to look at the elected parliamentarian. Okay, let's use an example. Senator Peters, who is now the Minister of Foreign Affairs, comes over as a go-getter. The way she dressed, you talk about posture, the way she dressed, the way she carry herself, and the way she presents her presentation tells her that she has some worth. And I already put St. Vincent, East Kingston, and West Kingston on notice that she has showed interest to become electoral parliamentary. But she have a long time to wait because Cummings ain't going nowhere. And the people that constituency see you, and they will probably take her for that ride somewhere down the way in the next 5 years or so.
But devil's advocate, just because a person dresses well and produces nice speeches doesn't mean that they're doing work.
Well, I tell you something, I want to say this way. My father tell me, right, when he's a sailor and bulk, if you want to impress any captain, get on the ship and walk up and down fast, up and down. And he will say, that guy is walking hard. He look busy doing nothing. You understand? So I go answer it that way. But to be fair, with I see Senator Peters, she has that ability, and I hope that she go from strength to strength.
People might say I have a bias towards Peters.
No, I have a bias for Senator Morgan. I'm in love with Senator Morgan. Yes, but
does she know that?
Does she know that?
Yeah.
Well, she should know by now. Yeah. But no, I don't have a bias because I know Christal that
yes, you do, man.
Senator Peters
I always like to say
has the ability from her training and her experience. I think that she is an excellent choice that Gonsalves one of these days will feel really proud of Senator Peters as accomplishment. Okay?
So who's going to take up the mantle to list all of the promises that are made by each ministry, each parliamentarian? Maybe we could go back 5 years, list every single one,
and check the implementation,
and then check to see what has been implemented, what has been started, what is ongoing, what has been completed. Who's going to do that?
You know that's a good question, because the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines are paying the salaries of Cian Marshall and Augustine Fallingham, right? Who do the program occasionally. So I'm hoping that people tap into them and ask them questions because they have a rule to make sure that the policies by the ULP, like I see a nationalist man and speaking about the issue of housing and lands. And he can't get away from the politics and talk about the NDP sell crew these lands in the grains for 50 cents and things. But
But is that true?
but he should have go forward and tell
Is
you
that true?
that the lands that he say was sold for inadequate pricing from where he's sitting, that the court rule where former commissioner Toussaint has to be paid for an infringement of his rights. So Sian just been a typical press secretary. I need them to go beyond that. Get the information for people. People listen for information and they need to come and let us know over the last 20 years if the ULP has delivered on the implementation rate in some of the proposals that they made and continue to make and why we not seem to not go in any place. Good to have a nice fancy presentation of the estimate by Cameron Gonsalve and then come and do a detail of the estimate spending through the budget 2020, 2023.
Do you want me to read them for you?
Oh, you have them there?
The accomplishments 2001 to 2015.
Read some.
This is coming from the 2015 manifesto for the ULP. Education revolution in all its
What
dimensions.
you say you are independent and you find that so quick? People really don't know you in truth. Yeah, let's go.
I'm not affiliated to any party. Thank you very much. Poverty reduction and reversing undernourishment, job and wealth creation, the boosting more than ever of private sector development, including foreign investment, the housing revolution, the health and wellness revolution, construction of the AIE and the Canwan Jetport, building and reconstruction of the road network, including the Windward Highway, the bridge over the Rabakatrai River, and South Leeward Highway and the Vijay Highway. This was a 2015 manifesto, right? Construction and rehabilitation of police stations all over St. Vincent and the Grenadines, upgrading of the Coast Guard and Fire Service, strengthening markedly of the overall machinery, personnel, and facilities for the promotion of citizen security. Massive upgrading and boosting of all systems, processes, mechanisms, and including the establishment and strengthening of the National Emergency Management Organization. I'll run to them quickly because I only have like 7 more. Saving, strengthening, and fleet renewal of LIAT. The huge expansion and delivery, well, since 2015 to now, things have changed. The huge expansion and delivery of quality water and solid waste disposal services, strengthening and modernization of VINLEC, the delivery of enhanced and reliable electricity services, the facilitation of the unfolding of a revolution in information communication technology, the facilitation of vastly improved ferry services, the massive enhancements in the protection and promotion of the welfare of the elderly, women, and the family, a tremendous practical focus on the development of young people, sports, and culture. So that's 2001 to 2015. So for people who say they ain't do nothing for the last 20 years, so we can rule out 2015 and talk about since 2015 to 2020.
You mentioned one aspect of our development, and I say all because it's national. CWSA, Central Water and Sewerage Authority, once led by Daniel Cummins. Somebody referred to Daniel Cummins' leadership at the time as the Republic of Daniel Cummins, but he did well because God Sanders eventually became the manager. You know, I wanted people to realize that Bones Monday, yes, the encyclopedia who sit the Shaker program every Wednesday, was a minister of health under Sir James' administration. When Bones stood as Minister of Health, we had a collection of garbage island wide. Okay? Dr. Providence was suggested and recommended by Bones to be what she is today. CWSA was a model institution led by Daniel Cummins. So what you just read there is a continuation of the development started by the NDP at the CWSA when Bones Bonny was Minister of Health. And we had Douglas Slater, who was a medical personnel, never seemed to put a dent on the health landscape. We had Clayton Morgan was just a minister. The others who sat. Today we have Jimmy Prince, who's not really a medical person but has a good staff. But if you want to talk about alliances with development, you have to look back at the NDP when Daniel Cummins was CWC manager, water throughout the length and breadth of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And the collective of garbage where Bonds Body signed on the ministry to buy those garbage trucks that come along every single day in different constituency. But we spoke about the implementation rate in 2015. It's quite obvious in 2015 after Ralph Gonsalves government became party became government in 2001. The best development plan for the ULP had to be in the first two elections that they win. Today, when you look at them, they appear to be slumbering on the job and becoming complacent. When Camilo Gonsalves yesterday in Parliament could use Frederick Stevenson as a premise of a developing aspect of his government, Camilo Gonsalves could not be serious. He just been playing with the political gallery of the people in South Central. We was hoping that when the time comes, that it will continue. Because it's all about the politics today. It's all about the politics down the road. And I noticed when Camilo Gonsalves was presenting some aspect of airlines, and I agree with him that when Dr. Gonsalves stood as man, he tried to see if he could keep Leah alive and putting in some monies, and he sitting NDP in opposition, he criticized Dr. Gonsalves' position on that. People just say, and let me say good morning to Miss Murphy. Miss Murphy, hope you listen. She's one of the person who had a different view with Ralph Gonsalves in terms of Leah. Today, the cry alongside Camilo Gonsalves is that we should have keep the illegal island air transport afloat. Because getting to St. Vincent, Christal, you wouldn't know because you walk in the airport. But lots of people come, and more people coming since the international airport is built. But you know what is the cry? It is too expensive to come to St. Vincent again. It's why you fly straight from England, one stop in Barbados, or you come straight from Toronto here. It's expensive. It ain't come cheap. So the infrastructure out there is there. But and you mentioned the completion. Well, the airport never really complete. Airport started construction in 2008 and became operational in 2017. But you would not like me to detail some of the ills that are taking place currently at the airport. Lack of maintenance, that's one. And the staff, one. The air conditioning unit, there are 5 brand new air conditioning units sitting on the compound of the Argyle Airport. Why they are not being installed? The theory is that they can't raise enough money to pay the persons to install them. And I often wonder if the board of directors, who headed by our friend, I think Mr. Young, yeah, Mr. Young, soon a young dad, right? He's the chairperson of the board of directors. I wonder if he report everything that he should to the prime minister who's in charge of airport. Because he used to be Senator Francis. Now, Dr. Gonsalves assumed the responsibility since Senator Francis is not feeling too well. I wonder if Mr. Young reports all the ills that are taking place at the airport. Because everybody in St. Vincent know that Ralph Gonsalves single-handedly consumed the development of the international airport and think that is his political baby. But some of the things that he's taking place out, they need to be reported. It's like Dr. Gonsalves, know about them, are basically not want to speak about them. But I would like to hear his presentation on airport and where it is when he presents as the person in charge of airport and air transport in St. Vincent. I want to see what his plans in terms of see if we could encourage Leah to come back. It's a whole heap of thing that needed to be addressed. I heard the Minister of Finance spoke about 50 new employees in the security aspect. Oh, I just hope they are not square pegs in the wrong hole, or they're just
As in police force?
acolytes who just get a job because they are quote unquote blindly supporting the ULP. I just hope that it's people who are committed, because if we want to use a yardstick for commitment, we have to use Ralph Gonsalves. He's a workaholic. He presents that he loves people. He's committed to the development of service and Well, what about the others who should be doing what he say that he is doing? We really need to know what is important. And I'm fed up of this process every year, and it has to happen because the government have to have authorization to use monies from the tax consolidated fund. But it's too much promises, promises, promises. And then today, you're going to hear from the leader of the opposition who's just going to oppose, sake. I fed up with that kind of politics because here what happened, Christal.
But you said he's the next prime minister in waiting, but you're fed up of his kind of politics. Make up your mind.
He is the next prime minister in waiting, right? Today he was going to make a presentation as the leader of the opposition. He's going to oppose this because he wants to appeal to the the NDP gallery that, oh, don't suppose to have Gonzalez proposal. But hey, Fitzbrahman are going to come and make a presentation and make an appeal that East Kingston is being neglected. And he's going to come and oppose everything and show that his constituency, because the Bunker is being neglected. And then he will say, Madam Speaker, I am not supporting this budget. But they will come and tell you they want things done here, there, and everywhere. I think they should just keep them all shut, because whether they make noise or not, the budget is going to pass, and the same lack of implementation which is not going to take place. The neglect that Fitzbrahman will speak about will continue in the constituencies that the ULP couldn't win. And if I were Ralph Gonsalves, I play the politics. The ones who I see that I win, I'll put more priority in getting things done, because it's either executive and opposition. And right now, it's about the executive, who is the ULP. And if you remember when Labour Party was in office, Sir James and them had the same attitude. When Sir James became prime minister,
it's an opposition thing.
It's an opposition, and I feel like opposition thing. I think
but then you always have opposition thing. You see, you have to blame politicians for this kind of mentality or the kind of politics that we have. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? So as the opposition leader, when you oppose, people get upset because they're always opposing. If you don't oppose and you support and you say, then the other side, which in our case would be the ULP, would be like, oh, look, even the opposition is agreeing with us. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. So it's like it's a profession that you would find yourself between a rock and a hard place, that if you decide to be an individual who holds integrity at highest regards, it puts you in a spot. Like you can't, okay, so you're pressed to be biased, but you can't be biased. But then if you're biased, like so where do you find yourself?
Let me tell you something, right? I have to mention Mr. Weeks. Mr. Weeks said he's not very fond of the question segment in Parliament because he thinks that the parliamentarian playing to the political gallery. I'm paraphrasing my understanding of my interpretation of what he said. And I agree with him, because I believe there is aspect of this presentation by Kamala Gonsalves that will benefit Vincent generally. And I'm referring to this segment where he spoke about health development, and their plans to build an acute brand new hospital at the E.T. Joshua site. He spoke about MIR machines and other things that are taking place. That is good for the development of people and healthcare. The leader of the opposition should support that aspect, because he know that health is critical.
Should support. But what if, while that is a good intention, the way it's being done is not up to standard, or could get you into even more trouble? So what if he addresses an area that, okay, guys, while this is good, you need to look out for this. Not that he's against the overall aim, but there's something that you just need to fix in order to get that done properly.
I agree with you that the leader of the opposition has a peculiar position. If something is good, he should demand from his other parliamentarians, let's support this aspect of budget 23 presentation by Kamala when it comes on the issue of health, because health is a complex thing and we need to, but to play politics with it, it's not going to go anywhere. So if I were Dr. Friday and I make my presentation this morning, after he made his presentation and the speaker eyes caught other people, when Daniel Cummings and Sinclair can finish speak, I tell you, just sit down and wait.
But the purpose of the opposition is supposed to critique and is supposed to read between the lines
Definitely. I
and
made a
look at
presentation.
everything with 20 million eyes just to make sure everything is on point.
And that is what I'm expecting from them. But you go to hear Fitzbramley name here, the East Kingston Parliament, pretty politics because he want to come over as doctor know everything. He want to come over as the guy who is 60 and appeared to be young. He want to come over as that because he is an economist. He's better placed to speak on certain financial aspect than Major League, than Israel Bruce and that kind of thing. So I can't take the politics of the presentation that I anticipate will be coming from the NDP. You will hear later, Stevenson, how much road down so want to fix, how much road so don't want to fix. And all he can say when the month done, he get his salary. The opposition should just listen to the project. If they want to make a presentation, make it worthwhile. But just don't be, oh, I have to say, oh, there, talk to the minister about it, anything happening. I fed up with that kind of politics. Definitely
Okay. If they don't do that, then aren't they going to lose supporters because supporters are looking for that kind of representation because those are the things that are affecting them on a day-to-day basis. How many people pay attention to the budget? How many people pay attention to the finances? How many people pay attention to all the other issues that the NDP would raise or the opposition, people in opposition who are not necessarily NDP either? How many people pay attention to those things?
And I agree with you.
Right? The average person wants to hear.
I agree with you in the presentation you're making. Some of the people who support the NDP out of just love for the NDP. They don't pay attention to the details of the budget. Like I actually sit and I listened to the Camilla Gonsalves yesterday. And if I have to rate the budget presentation by Camilla Gonsalves, from my position, he passed. Okay? Because there are aspects of the budget that is going to benefit people if we could implement those policies in the next year or two down the road. Because he spoke about the importance of the tourism sector. And Mr. Weeks, I have to thank you again. The sector and the industry is complete. So Camilo probably meant the industry, but certain aspect of the tourism sector are developing. We see more cruise ships coming. See yacht is improving. There is an indication that overnighters are staying. But what we have to watch is the taxation coming from government to people. Getting to St. Vincent is too expensive, and we hope the government could limit some of the taxes that are added to tickets for services to encourage people to come until we can get more frequent airlines coming to service and greening. Where Gonsalves and Camilla have to come up with some creativity to encourage people to come to service and greening because we have
not just on them alone. It's like the entire country.
Yeah.
We have to come together to resolve the issues that we have and to move forward. Because okay, so you're talking about travel and tourism. You have the entertainment sector, you have the tourism sector, you have the people themselves who have to maintain the tourism sites, and then you have the individuals, Vincentians, who use the sites who also play a part in maintaining and play a part in promoting. Everybody has a Facebook page. A lot of people are on TikTok. A lot of people are utilizing social media platforms. But how many people are actually promoting St. Vincent? You're going to think it's as easy as that. I mean, people like to pinpoint and say that this is their responsibility without acknowledging that it is. I know this is a phrase that has been used within the Ministry of Health for the last 2 years. It is a shared responsibility. National development is a shared responsibility.
And that is why I'm demanding that you get better politics from Augustine falling on in terms of information and the implementation rate of the policies presented by Gonsalves. And I'm hoping that the Prime Minister's Press Secretary, C.M. Marshall, who is close to him and should reflect Gonsalves' policies, not Gonsalves' personal aid as Glenn Jackson was, but C.M. Marshall need to do much more than stop the politics. It tick for that. Every time you hear them, it's tick for that. NDP did that.
You have a choice, right?
Plans.
You have a choice.
Wait,
you cannot listen.
We have to listen.
You cannot listen. But here's what we have to take. It's 25 minutes on to 9 o'clock. We have to take a break. But before we go, I just want to say this, right? You could have the most wonderful policies in the entire world. But if you don't have proper management and proper implementation and a productive group of people to move that forward from plan on paper to an actual product or service, then it's going to end up being null and void, a waste of time and a waste of money.
Yeah, well, comment before you know, when Glenn Jackson stood as Prime Minister's Press Secretary, Glenn Jackson was a people person. whether he meant what he did, he used to have aid of the people. Then, when Glenn Jackson left us, Hans King came in, robust, articulate, and forceful. People should pay attention because they realize that Hans King, while he's the Prime Minister's press secretary, was not a typical press secretary where he just was to score political points. Because I saw here Hans say right here,
Yeah.
when I leave here, I'm going to listen to the other guys because I want to know what they're saying so I can counteract them. We need to see that sort of rivalry taking place where people can learn and make and amplify the policies that will benefit. And
So-
the hope is that the Ministry of Health will get the funding that solution require. So when I get sick, the Milk and Kate and Memorial Hospital will be adequately equipped with medication so I can get my health requirements. Okay? So we take a break. We
But
come
now
back.
you said something. I want to say something else.
Yeah, go
Hans,
ahead.
Hans King's name came up several times last week. When Ian Cullen was talking about the Joshua Center
Yes.
and national properties.
Yes. Hans is doing a good
So
job there.
perhaps, and he made mention of the private sector, how he came from that's his background in private sector, and he just perhaps that is what we need to see in more areas within the government. People with that kind of aggression,
yes, yes.
that kind of culture.
Yeah, but to be fair with you,
Let me take a
Kristen,
break in
I had a good relationship with Glenn Jackson when he was alive.
Work ethic is what I was looking for.
I have a good relationship with the Prime Minister's press secretary. I never think that myself and Hans King were friends. But Mr. Mason, who's listening to you, could tell you, we used to have a rivalry discussion, robust discussion. Keep our composure about the information to come out. And I think that Hans King
without
is lacking.
feelings.
Yeah, without feelings.
Without getting emotional, without taking things personal.
No, because we know how far to go. I don't know anything about Hans King personally. Hans King knows nothing about personally. So there was not a need for us to go there. We just stuck to the issue and the rivalry and get the points out. And ask Mr. Mason, he can call and tell you. So
I've been touching politics to petty.
And let me tell you something. Elsie Crick, I saw him Saturday. Elsie Crick and I had that kind of up and down relationship. I know Elsie Crick was the communication consultant to the Prime Minister. But anytime you choke him and he can't respond to you, you drag the flag and try to make it look bad. But he is in the past. I don't believe in here anymore. Okay, let's go.
Means politics to petty sometimes. Anyways, time for a break. When we come back, we will resume. SwiftPack has slashed shipping rates on air cargo and small package courier. Ship small packages and U.S. mailbox items for as low as $3 US or $8.15 EC per pound. Air cargo as low as $1.52 US per pound for cargo over 100 pounds. Special rates available for personal boxes from the USA to St. Vincent. This is a limited time offer. Call 456-5400 today for more information. SwiftPack, send it fast. And let Quartz help you recover from the holidays and put a little extra cash back into your wallets. Beginning January 1st, you can save up to 30% off store-wide because we're going to give you great deals and pay your VAT. Now you can set those New Year's resolutions to help you get well, mind, body, and spirit. And you can also love yourself a little bit more with a little extra money to buy that new furniture piece for your home. Appliances for the kitchen, smart TV to watch that favorite show, or gym equipment to help shed the Christmas pounds. Plus, if you pay with Quartz Ready Finance, you pay nothing down and there's no payment for 30 days. This offer is available in store and online at shopquartz.com. Conditions apply. Quartz, bringing value home.
It's not just a new year, it's a you year. It's time to put yourself first and build a strong financial foundation. And that's where wealth and you did or set a financial plan for the you can't deserve it.
Spot captures our radiant sunshine framed in gold. It dives into the glistening deep in logo fuses with the arch, a symbol of strength and support. A perfect representation. Arches features edgy diamond formation, perfectly blended with hops and barley, rose and flavors. A crisp taste. Enjoyed this. New label celebrates the prize-winning superiority of our brew and represents the passion behind high roosters and age 18 years of
service located inside Hill in Kingstown, today 8 to 5 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to cat flats. Wide range wants.
So, whole new world. That's more for slower service. Enable SkyMax Cargo up to 3 flights weekly. 2 and US Rico and providing excellent import, export, and e-commerce solutions to put you ahead of the competition. For special 765-400 locally in cargo 784-456-5400 to book your shipments today.
It's real good. Good enough. Then just I miss it. Look for the orange container on them. Plenty on it. I am call them today. Caribbean Fire Plus 476 or email ctiresplus@gmail.com.
Whatever you are celebrating, birthdays, for 30 years, we are open for lunch and dinner. We have a set menu and we are flexible to all requests. Above and down. It's more than just a meal, it's an adventure. Call for reservations at 457-2713.
Nothing else.
I'm telling you something, huh?
You don't like it? I enjoy it.
You enjoy it
Yeah.
as a young man who is interested in productivity, who's interested in integrity, who is interested in if you
Integrity.
then if you say you're going on accountability, if you say you're going to do something, then my expectation as a Vincentian is that you are going to do it.
You sound frustrated, are you?
Me?
Mm.
Frustrated with what?
Just the system.
Yeah, it is frustrating. it has to be frustrating because if I'm sitting down and I'm listening to Parliament and then you just hear them start to cuss one another, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's just so petty.
So that is
And then
why
they
that
start
is why I
shouting like
told
you are
you.
wasting my
That is
time.
why I told you when Mr. Weeks said that he don't pay much attention to the question time because that is political galvanized. I agree with him.
Like you just have to roll your
But I will tell you something,
eyes.
Crystal. In the little time we have left, you can send your thoughts at 4579994. We should be leaving here at between 9 and 5 past 9 because they don't normally start exact on time. And let me remind
9
you,
o'clock, they said.
let me remind you that you should be hearing from the Prime Minister in waiting,
You're hearing from the
Honorable
opposition leader.
leader. But she's the Prime Minister in waiting. Oh, you want me to refer to Kamala, the Prime Minister in waiting?
I never said no.
Okay, all right, okay.
He is the opposition leader.
So I listened to the Minister of Finance, hopeful Prime Minister presentation on housing. He spoke about a little bit of initiative and plans there. And did the European make an effort? Yes, with the low income houses, they made an effort. They also make an effort currently where they try to get houses, freehab, board houses, purple heart, green heart houses for people who lost their houses through natural disaster and volcano eruptions. That's an effort.
They can't match.
The presentation promised by the Minister of Finance, which to complement Jimmy's Prince ministry, is hopeful, and I hope that most of that will be implemented over a period of time. Well, the issue of security, criminology, and crime is at a stage where everybody has to put their hands on deck, but the responsibility to put the policy on people to get it implemented is the Honorable Prime Minister, who is happened to be the Minister of Legal Affairs and a professional by as a lawyer. We hear about how important, you always hear them saying that the private sector is an important aspect of the engine of growth. We hear Camille crying out say yesterday that the private sector need to do more to clean up their buildings, and if buildings here.
It's true.
Yeah, but
some are looking nasty.
Yeah, but you don't know the expense the private sector is going through. See,
maybe that's one of the reasons they're not getting any income revenue because the place look nasty. It's unattractive. Where going?
And then they have the issue of lands and agriculture. You know, I'm amazed that one time a particular minister was in charge of land and we have a separate minister in charge of agriculture. I can't understand why they don't combine lands to the Ministry of Agriculture and let's get this thing on the road. And
because the land have different purposes.
I am hoping that presentation from Ralph Gonsalves, Suboto Caesar, and Sinkeleka speak to the issue of the importance of the national insurance service and pension reform. Because let me tell you something, you hear they say they're going to do some work for low exposure home. I try not to go there. So we want to see policy and a structure come in place from the parliament who are responsible for making laws, so we can see the life of the NIS go from strength to strength. Because, hello, it's an important institution, but we need to hear much more. The last time you heard from Mr. Haynes, I'm wondering if he take back most of what he said, or if he did inform the authorities, he was going to speak on the issue of the NIS and its longevity. But
he's a director of NIS.
Yeah, the director have to have a policy and have report to somebody else. If somebody else is not paying any interest, he could be director as much as he want. If they make the policy on paper for him to implement, somebody gonna catch hell in St. and Grenadiers. So it's a short edition of the program this morning. And if you're wondering if myself and Christal forgot that we made a promise for the classic, no. We're going to do that from next week because of the limited time, because of the budget presentation 2023-2024 taking place in St. Vincent and the Grenadiers. You have someone up there?
Maybe this one. I've often wondered why politicians in St. Vincent introduces strawman arguments in a debate. It is that they try are ill prepared, they're not prepared, they often talk around the subject and not the subject itself.
But here, that's a good WhatsApp. You know why? Dr. Friday has overnight to prepare for the response to the Minister of Finance presentation. But over the last 5 years, you should have been taking notes here and everywhere where the help is going and what policy is implemented and where the NDP could do better, right? But hey, when Dr. Lorraine Friday finished the presentation today, who you anticipate going to respond after? All of them just can sit down there and hope that one go and go. Dr. Thompson, who started yesterday, used to be the third person who make a presentation after Dr. Gonzalez and Dr. Friday. And when Ralph Gonzalez said Thompson was arguing with the British person in Parliament, Ralph Gonzalez know what he was saying, you know. So I'm wondering who's going to respond to Lauren Friday's presentation immediately after he made the presentation. Look to the and listen. And then Ralph Gonzalez also crafty something while they all were waiting to see who can get up. Ralph just wrap up the budget presentation because he had the last say. He had the one to do the code up when he was Minister of Finance. So Cameron may find himself in a position that nobody wants to respond because they're not prepared as opposed to just say the WhatsApp. They just want to play a strong man respond. Oh, you said this, you said that. And I'm hoping that the listeners who listen to the presentation by Cameron Gonzalez, you notice that his presentation was uninterrupted. And I often wonder if the opposition is paying attention to that. They didn't interrupt Camilo, they were listening to the presentation, and I noticed that he was doing a bit of reading, and somebody will say, well, it's quite obvious that he had to read because he had to put the presentation together. But if you find somebody else from the NDP reading, you will see how fast Camilo Gonzalez get up and say, Madam Speaker, the rule suggests that the member should not be reading. He could be referring to his notes. Look at them. So you like person to say is a strong man kind of attitude because this person wants to respond to what Subotu just said. Sinkeleka is going to be as crafty as he normally is, but he's the one who's going to create the controversy and the interest in Parliament. And when Daniel Cummings comes to make a presentation, it's like everybody ears open because they hope that he make a presentation and his grammar and his pronunciation is not what it's supposed to be, and they're going to jump on each road. But Cummings ready for them, eh? Cummings is one of the most prepared person and fair person whenever he's around. So I'm hoping that that will take place and make the presentation interesting.
Cummings has a nickname, right? What's Cummings' nickname again?
You mean Solar Church 1 time minute for that?
No.
Waterman?
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
It was not anything negative.
No, he asked me. I said, tell you what I know. Yeah, some people call him Stone Church. I say, even go beyond Stone, the church is Stone somebody, but that is not possible because probably no stone can reach up by you. So not only reach certain people when they certain people.
I use the word stone too. 8:54 is the time on the ticker. You ever wonder why you don't have more young people joining politics actively?
Well, because I have a topic in mind I want to discuss. Because here's something, Christal. Maddie Marks, Rachel Ford, Richard Williams.
Rachel Ford.
Yeah, Rachel Ford, right. Persons who sat as senators before Kamala Gonzalez came in. Where they are today? Ralph Gonzalez.
Too much work.
Ralph Gonzalez, he didn't know that Louis Shaker offered Kamala job to be council. He went over there. Ralph Gonzalez prepared Kamala to be where he is.
It can't be the other way around. Why can't be the other way around?
He probably shoot him into East St. George, right? I wonder if our friend gone back yet. Our friend Kingsley Fitzhuggins. I wonder if he gone back yet. Yeah. Okay, right.
Send him a message and ask him. But you're supposed to know when everybody gone back.
No.
That's not his station.
Yeah. I know his brother here. Spencer. Morning, Spencer. Morning, Frank. This is I know you guys are listening. Good to know that you listen. We have your ears right here at VFM, the Clean Fresh Sound. And that is why we are the best. But here's something now.
But you ain't really answer me neither.
What do you want me to answer? Yeah, what's the question?
Well, I think the answer was kind of vague. I asked you why you think not many young people
No,
enter.
no. I could answer it. Have young people who are showing interest to become politicians, but if you don't go into the ULP, you'll get tongue lashing from your conservative members and supporters of the ULP. If you only join the NDP.
But that's the nature of Vincentian politics.
So you don't know that is why some people are gravitating to the NDP, because they worry about the tongue lashing you get from our conservative and Cian Marshall and Augustine Ford and them people. You don't think so?
But if it is that you know that you are standing for what you believe is right, then why bother? Why even consider backlash? People going to cuss you left, right, and center. No matter what.
All you have to do, ask yourself, what was the plan of Ral Gonzalez when he suggested Richard Williams to be senator?
So hold on. Let me try to understand. So you're in doom and gloom as a young person if you join the NDP.
Yes, once the ULP is in office.
So if you want to join politics,
and they find it difficult to find young people come to them because they're afraid they have a fear of the attack they will receive.
So then you're really not that ready.
I want to tell you something, but I don't think Jews will let me tell it, and so I will tell it off air.
We write down another thing you have to tell me.
Yeah, I will tell you. Yeah. I'll tell you. But here's something, Christal. Look at the young people who gravitated to the ULP. Senator Peters.
What about them? You have to list them. What about them?
No, she's in the mix and she understands where she is, what time it is. Let's say that Senator Peters is joining the NDP. You think people who have growing things of her would say what they're saying about her today? Did I say she's wasting time?
But a lot of people didn't have nice things to say a few months ago.
About who?
About Senator Peters when they were talking about bleaching.
No, that was total nonsense raised by Jomo Thomas. That was a non-issue. I don't know that eventually become a trending topic in this. I never look at her and think that she's
the things that were said were not nice.
Yeah, but they're just rubbish.
And it was exactly.
Yeah, so that's why it didn't go anywhere. Right. And by the end, we had the witch hunt, quote unquote, out for Senator Morgan because she was in a company. Old people really right, old people say, you have to know the company you choose. Because when things come, you only don't call for it. I actually said,
if you have been there, name never call.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm told, they said.
That witch hunt for Senator Morgan was something else, okay? What's
You're not saying that because you have a...
No. You started
just making sure.
Don't judge me.
I ain't judging. I'm just asking. I'm just making sure. What they say about make sure better than?
Cock show.
All right.
You're learning, Christal. You're learning.
Learning. I know a few things, man.
In fifth siblings and the grannies, Christal going to do the National Lottery Authority and the BOSVG bank rates for you. And if there's any time we come back until we get indication that they're ready for us at the sitting of Parliament.
Yep. So as soon as they start this morning, then we'll bring that to you, whatever time it is. All right. So let's take a break. 8:59. But just in case we don't have sufficient time to come back.
Bon voyage.
Yeah, just in case. If you hear us again, then they have not started this yet. All right, so let's go to 9 o'clock. The ECCB bank rates will come first. That's brought to you Compliments Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Immediately following that would be last night's Play 4 and 3D draw results brought to you Compliments National Lotteries Authority.
Nothing sounds as good as
WEFM, the clean, fresh sound.
Brick by brick, piece by piece, building with technology, helping wealth increase, starting small, building the future, doing more every day, doing more together. BOSVG, the bank we count on. BOSVG, Our one bank together we're strong. Our nation's bank, standing long and proud. One bank, one voice, sing it loud. BOSVG. Hey, building our future. Doing more together.
OSBG, doing more together.
Good morning. Welcome to the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank's bank rates for today, Tuesday, January 10th, 2023. Brought to you compliments the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The following are today's indicative rates in Eastern Caribbean dollars for key international and regional currencies. These rates will not apply to commercial banks' transactions with the public. The Barbados dollar 1.35, Canadian dollar 2.01575. Swiss franc 2.93239, Euro 2.89751, Pound sterling 3.28415, the United States dollar 2.70, and the Guyana dollar 0.01333. Thank you so much for listening, and thanks to the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for sponsoring.
Brick by brick, piece by piece, building with technology, helping wealth increase, starting small, building the future, doing more every day, doing more together. BOSVG, the bank we count on. BOSVG. Our one bank together we're strong. Our nation's bank, standing long and proud. One bank, one voice, sing it loud. BOSVG. Hey, building our future. Doing more together.
OSBG, doing more together.
On Tuesday, January 10th, there'll be thousands of dollars to be won. A lotto jackpot of $170,000.